A bank with a presence in Boston is trying a new way to promote support for the homeless. By using augmented reality, Santander Bank will help us see what it's like to be in the shoes of the working homeless, something that's usually unnoticed or unseen. It's all part of an effort to support a pioneering agency that serves the homeless in Greater Boston. To tell us about the initiative and other forms of community investment is the bank's co-president for North America and head of consumer and business banking, Michael Cleary. Thank you very much for being with us, Michael.
Chris, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
First, explain how this works. You're going to help people see what it's like to be one of the working homeless. What does that mean?
So this is rooted in our journey to bring respect back to banking. We started probably a year and a half ago with the idea that here at Santander, respect is standard. And so if you're going to do that, you should respect your colleagues, each other. We should respect our customers, and we should show up in a community in a way that shows that we want to talk about respect. So we found some research that said that 94% of people think they are respectful of others, but only 24% of people respect them. That math doesn't work. So there's a respect gap. And we thought that it was important for us to remind people that there are people in the world that just aren't respected like they should be. And we partnered with Heading Home, organization in Massachusetts, been here for 40 years, and decided that we would put together a social impact initiative using augmented reality to remind people that there are people who are homeless, they live in their cars, they get up every single day like you and me, and they go to work, and they probably don't get the respect they deserve.
You know, a lot of people, when they picture the homeless, they go by what's most strikingly visible, and and yet there are people who, as you mentioned, they might live out of a car, but most of the working day they could be a nurse's assistant or something like that, couldn't they?
Yes, we actually tell a story in our initiative about Jen, the nursing assistant. It's a true story. Jen is an actress, but it's a reenactment of a true story of this woman who gets up every day. She's a nurse with a very good job, but she can't afford the down payment, the first month's rent, security deposit on an apartment, and she ends up living in her car. And she hopes it's only going to be short term, but it turns out to be a little longer term. And so we tell the story about Jen and the idea that we want to remind people about this respect gap that exists, and we should think about that in everything we do every day. We hope people will embrace the story. They'll participate in the initiative we have at Copley and at Greenway and at MIT. And they'll join us in this journey to support those people and support Heading Home, to put people in homes.
Well, this is one of the intriguing parts about this, is how you're telling the story at those locations. You mentioned people, I guess they'll see red shoes, and what happens next? So
we have I'm going to call it an art installation of red shoes, nurses' shoes, to draw people's attention. When they show up at the installation, we have a bunch of iPads that have this augmented reality. So think about Pokemon Go. When people dropped Pokemon into situations, we'll actually drop through virtual reality a car into this space. That car is Jen's car. And you see Jen getting dressed for work. You see Jen sleeping in her car. You see Jen going through some tough experiences when you have to live on the streets. And they get to understand that journey. We then ask them to download an app. And this is where I really implore people to come help us in this. In the app, we're going to track people's miles. For every mile that you walk, we're going to donate $10 to Heading Home to help people like Jen. So join us, make that walk. We're going to donate up to $200,000. We put about 200 people into homes that aren't in homes today as a result of that. So this is the part of the walk in someone else's shoes. Understand what it's like to be Jen. Go ahead and walk in her shoes and help us donate money to this great cause. And
Heading Home, they help people in different ways. Sometimes it's permanent housing, sometimes it's transitional, or maybe some help, some services.
They have helpful services. They have some homes they manage themselves. They help people get into some apartments by affording that security deposit and down payment. And it's a tremendous cause. They've been here for 40 years. They do great work.
This is BNN News, and we're talking with Michael Cleary from Santander Bank. Michael, in recent years, the bank, as other banks sometimes occasionally do, they get some pressure from regulators, say, you got a local community here, you got to do a better job investing in that. And I guess the latest report card says you are doing better. So what are you doing exactly?
Yeah, so we've had a journey for the last 18 months where we're just improving the things we do in our communities and for our bank. We passed the federal stress test twice in a row. We've improved our CRA rating, so we've gone to a satisfactory and outstanding in a couple areas. We made a commitment to our communities. We call it our Inclusive Communities Commitment of $11 billion that over 5 years to make sure we're lending money in mortgages, small business, make sure we're doing financial education, doing community development loans, and making some donations through our foundation. About $3 billion of that will be in the state of Massachusetts. So we feel great about the opportunity to do that. And we think that this initiative with In Someone Else's Shoes just, attaches onto that to show that being in our communities and showing respect and doing the right thing for people is just part of what every company should do.
Financial education, how does that help people?
So we put a lot of first-time home buyer seminars on. We have bankers will go put on seminars and sit with customers and help them on just how to manage their finances better. The last thing we want for someone to do is to get into financial difficulty. So we teach them how to balance their checkbook. We show them how to use alerts so that they can check their balances before they go spend the money. And we have I think 14,000 hours last year of our colleagues teaching people about financial education.
We should mention, finally, if people want to get those apps and help with the homeless program, what's the first thing they should do?
Yeah, so I think you can go to insomeoneelseshoes.com, which is a website that'll introduce you to Jen and a little bit of a story. And then if you go to the App Store for either an iPhone or for the Galaxy and one of those phones, you can go, same thing. It's In Someone Else's Shoes, the app. Download the app. Make sure you activate the health tracker on your phone and just start walking. And for every mile, we'll donate $10 to that charity helping people like Jen.
Thank you very much for being with us.
That's great to be here, Chris.
Michael Cleary from Santander Bank. Up next, we'll talk with two members of parent advocacy group Parenting Journey after this message.